I wondered when I'd be seeing you, Mr. Potter.
So I got a couple of requests to tell you the Harry Potter series. So let's kick things off with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Harry Potter has come to Hogwarts.
So we meet Harry Potter, a normal kid living in the closet.
Why is he hiding he's gay?
No, he's not gay. His bedroom's in a closet under his aunt and uncle's staircase. It's his cousin Dudley's birthday, so naturally, Harry has to cook them breakfast before they go to the zoo.
We're going to the zoo!
Retards like the zoo.
But Dudley just might be a spoiled kid on his birthday.
I want everything to be perfect.
As they leave, his Uncle Vernon tells him to behave. Meanwhile, his son's allowed to act like a spoiled asshole.
Codswallop, in my opinion.
Is he a troublemaker?
Well, so far we don't have any reason to believe that he is.
People will think you're
Meddling in things that ought not to be meddled in.
You're sneaking out again.
Explain yourselves, both of you.
You'll get Gryffindor into trouble again.
You will join your classmates in detention.
up to something.
So when they're at the reptile exhibit, Harry finds out that he can talk to snakes.
Can you hear me?
I have the ear of a snake.
And while Dudley's being a jerk, Harry somehow makes the glass disappear. And because Dudley then gets trapped inside the cage, when they get home, Vernon locks Harry in the closet.
The pity they let the old punishments die. God, I miss the screaming.
Why would they think Harry did it?
Because he did. He just didn't know he did.
You're a wizard, Harry.
See, 10 years ago, these wizards dropped him off for his aunt and uncle to raise. And since it's super important not to let regular people know that wizards are real, they had to be super sneaky.
You have to travel incognito.
So this dude Dumbledore shows up in full wizard robes, stands in the middle of the road, and uses a Zippo to steal all the light from these street lamps, starting from the furthest one away.
Subtle, isn't he?
Then this giant Hagrid shows up on a loud-ass flying motorcycle with a super bright headlight.
Remember, incognito.
But at least Professor McGonagall tried to stay hidden and waited for the lights to be out to turn back into a person from her cat form, which is how she spied on Harry's family all day. But she tells Dumbledore that the Dursleys suck and doesn't want to leave Harry with them. But he's like, it's better for him to be raised in a child abuse house than for me to have to figure something out. So we're leaving his ass.
That is one of my more brilliant ideas.
And despite them thinking that this kid's like super important, they don't even bother ringing the doorbell to wake the family up.
They're just gonna leave him out there by himself?
It was an extremely foolish thing to do.
And that's not even the really messed up part. They left a note with the kid, and this is how the lady who lives there is gonna find out that her sister's dead. It's like, sorry your sister's dead. Don't raise this little shit.
Brutal!
But Petunia hated that her sister was a witch, so when they adopted Harry, they vowed that he would never know about the magical world.
I suppose a great muggle like yourself's going to stop him.
But later on, a letter gets delivered to Harry, but Dudley grabs it before he can read it. Vernon and Aunt Petunia see that it's a letter from Hogwarts, and look worried.
Bit of a nasty shock for him when he found out.
And then more and more letters keep coming, to the point that Vernon goes cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Fine day, Sunday. No post on Sunday. No, sir.
Daddy's gone mad, hasn't he?
But considering these letters are being delivered by owls that are now in his yard like a Hitchcock story, it's not long before the letters start coming. And even with this many letters delivered, Harry still doesn't manage to read what one says.
I always knew he'd do well.
So to get away from the letters, they go away to a lighthouse on an island, because birds can't fly or anything. But once they think they're safe, a giant breaks down the door.
Lucky we didn't panic.
But it's just Hagrid, with a birthday cake for Harry.
Afraid I may have sat on it at some point.
He tells him that he's a wizard, and that he's there to take him to Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry doesn't believe him, until he gives Dudley a pigtail as he uses his hands to shovel Harry's ass cake into his mouth.
Looks like he's going to be sick.
The next day, they go shopping for school supplies, but in the magical section of London. And given that all the people in this area are dressed in Renaissance chic, either they have a locker room where they're allowed to change, or they're walking around London dressed like weirdos.
What are you looking at?
But before they can go shopping, they have to go to the bank. And that's where we find out that Harry's rich and Hagrid's on a secret side mission.
I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
So while Hagrid goes to get some other stuff, Harry goes wand shopping. And the wand guy says,
The wand chooses the wizard.
but still lets Harry break some of his stuff first.
You're going to take someone's eye out.
You'd think after being open for so long that they'd invest in a shooting range for the kids to test him out.
You do it then if you're so clever.
Then, he gets a wand that makes him feel like he's chewing 5 gum.
New 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
And it just so happens the wand he gets is just like the one of this other wizard.
What other wizard?
He won't tell us, but apparently he did great things.
Terrible, but great.
Then Hagrid shows up with a bird, and Harry asks him about his parents' death. And that's when he tells him about Voldemort.
We do not speak his name.
but now he knows that it was his wand that killed his parents and gave him the scar on his forehead.
So he tried to kill Harry too?
Yeah, and this dude was like the most feared wizard of all time, but he couldn't even kill a baby at point blank range.
Well, it's worth a try.
So no wonder nobody's seen him in years. I'd be hiding too if somebody who poops their pants made me look like a bitch.
Into exile. I must go.
And now everyone knows Harry as
The boy who lived.
Always so dramatic.
and they go to the train station, where Hagrid ditches him when he's confused on how to find platform 9 3/4.
9 3/4. Think you're being funny, do you?
Luckily, he hears this lady call people muggles, which is something he heard Hagrid call his aunt and uncle, so he knows to follow her and her family, otherwise he would have never figured out that he needed to run into a brick wall to get to his train.
Someone will vanish occasionally, but they'll turn up in a month or two.
And these people are the Weasleys, a family of magical gingers, who love spouting out exposition.
I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what it means.
Molly's son Ron is also starting Hogwarts this year, so they ride together and try to get diabetes before they get there. Then this book nerd, Hermione Granger, shows up and fixes Harry's glasses and makes fun of Ron for sucking at magic because the spell didn't work on his pet rat, which is not one of the approved animals to bring.
Either an owl, a cat, or a toad.
And when they get to the school, they see that the ceilings are enchanted, the paintings are sentient, and ghosts can ruin your dinner.
Hello!
The headmaster, Professor Dumbledore, welcomes him and tells him not to go into the Dark Forest or a certain hall on the 3rd floor. So of course, you know they're going there later.
It's forbidden.
Professor McGonagall then tells them that they're going to be segregated into groups based on the opinion of a grumpy old hat. And it seems like Hogwarts is the only school never to worry about lice.
You wait till my father hears about this.
But the hat ends up putting all the good characters in Gryffindor.
Hufflepuff!
When it comes to Harry's turn, he tells the hat that he doesn't want to be in Slytherin house, because this entitled little shit Draco Malfoy's in it, and he'd rather be with people who are nice. So he gets into Gryffindor with all the kids he's already met.
I know you.
The other two houses are Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff, but we don't need to worry about them right now. Or maybe even ever.
Some people count. Some people don't.
But Harry's scar starts to hurt when one of the professors is staring at him all creepy. This is Professor Snape, the head of Slytherin House. He's also the potions teacher and picks on Harry for having the audacity to take notes as he brags about being able to make potions that can stop death.
Look who knows so much, huh?
And then he embarrasses him by asking questions on a subject he didn't know existed 3 days ago. And Hermione sitting next to him, being a little kiss-ass teacher's pet, doesn't help him either.
No wonder she hasn't got any friends.
And this is after Harry and Ron were late for McGonagall's transfiguration class, and they think they made it without getting caught. But we've already seen McGonagall's pussy.
Wow.
So we know that's not true.
No shit.
At lunch, Harry seems to be the only 11-year-old in history that wants to read the newspaper. And wouldn't you know it, on the front page is an article about somebody breaking into the bank vault that Hagrid got the secret thingy from.
Take no safer place.
They then go to PE class, where they're expected to ride a broom without any direction. This kid Neville Longbottom just takes off, and the PE teacher yells at him like he's supposed to know what to do. So instead of using magic to control his broom or something, she's the first to jump out of the way when he comes at the class. Luckily, his cloak gets caught on a statue, and he drops several stories, breaking his wrist.
You were supposed to protect us.
She's gonna take him to the hospital, and they're told not to fly because of the near-death experience. But Malfoy sees that Neville dropped a toy that he just got at lunch, and Harry insists that he give it back. So the little blonde shit takes off, and Harry goes after him, despite being told that they would be expelled if they flew.
Why would he risk being sent back to the child abuse house?
I don't like bullies.
Draco eventually throws it, and Harry goes after it, catching it right in front of McGonagall's window. So she storms down to the courtyard and tells Harry to go with her.
Did she know that they would get expelled if they flew?
No. But apparently she moonlights as a sports agent with an eye for talent because she takes him to the captain of the Quidditch team and tells him that Harry's their new seeker. And of course, he has no idea what any of those words mean. But Hermione knows that his dad was a seeker, so she thinks he'll be good at it.
She's a nightmare.
On their way back to the dorms, the staircase moves, and they end up in the Forbidden Corridor. They immediately realize that they shouldn't be there, but when they turn back, the janitor's cat's there, so they take off running from it, going further down the hallway.
So the janitor is the cat, just like McGonagall.
No, they just choose to go down the Forbidden Corridor because they're afraid of pussy.
This isn't what you're afraid of, is it?
At the end, they come across a locked door that Hermione magically picks for them to hide behind. Once Mr. Filch leaves, they stick around to watch a 3-headed dog wake up and try to murder them. But while Harry and Ron were shitting themselves, Hermione observed that it was guarding a trapdoor.
It's a trap!
The next morning, Harry learns about this game Quidditch.
Do you really think it's safe?
And Harry's job on the team is to catch the golden snitch.
Like Viper from Top Gun?
Hollywood, you're looking good. I'm going after Viper.
And if you catch the golden snitch, basically everybody else in our team is just taking up space, because you get all the points.
There are no points for second place.
Then in Charms class, Professor Flitwick teaches him how to levitate feathers. Hermione picks up on it right away after embarrassing Ron.
Leviosa, not Leviosa.
What's the difference?
And this Irish kid Seamus blows up. It's also apparently Halloween, so the teachers provide the children with enough sweets to instantly give them cavities.
Sugar Mountain Supreme for the chubby bunny.
But this is interrupted by the professor of the dark arts teacher, Professor Quirrell, because there's a
Turn in the dungeon!
The kids are ordered to go to their dorms while the adults handle it. But Harry and Ron were told that Hermione opted out of the diabetes-inducing dinner because she heard Ron talking shit about her.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
So they go looking for her so she doesn't get murdered by a troll, but it happens to get in the very bathroom she's crying at. And when it tries to kill her, Harry and Ron throw shit at the troll so it'll come after them. But when that doesn't work, Harry grabs onto the club, gets on its back, and shoves his wand up its nose. So Ron has to save him using the spell Hermione made fun of him for earlier.
Penny brain!
So he levitates the troll's club and knocks it the fuck out. And then Harry gets his booger-covered wand back. Then the teachers rush in, and Hermione takes the blame for Harry and Ron being there, instead of saying that they went looking for her because they knew she was taking a shit.
Serious lack of judgment.
And McGonagall awards him points for defeating the troll, but I'm not really sure how the points work.
Your triumphs will earn you points, any rule breaking, and you will lose points.
It kind of seems like they just give them out whenever they feel like it.
5 points for sheer dumb luck.
The next day, after Professor Snape wishes Harry luck on the upcoming Quidditch match, he tells Ron and Hermione that he saw a cut on Snape's leg last night, and he thinks he's the one who let the troll in to distract people while he tried to get past the dog, who he thinks is guarding whatever Hagrid got from the vault.
Best not to mention this to anyone, Harry.
Then an owl brings him a super broom that McGonagall bought for him, even though he's rich.
Never think about strays.
Then at the match, Harry's broom starts acting up, and Hermione sees that Snape is chanting something. So she goes to the other side of the stadium and sets him on fire.
Mental, that one, I'm telling you.
And this lets Harry get control back of his broom, and he goes on to catch the golden snitch by eating it.
I've never said this, but don't swallow.
And this means that Gryffindor wins automatically, which is great because this kid who really needs to go to the dentist knocked their keeper the fuck out, and Slytherin was making them their bitch.
Woke up in hospital a week later.
After the game, they go to Hagrid to tell him about Snape, and he tells them that he's one of the good guys. He also says that they should butt out, because what Fluffy is guarding is between Dumbledore and some dude named Nicholas Flamel. So now they're curious who that dude is, so they plan on breaking into the restricted books section over Christmas break. But first, they have to open their Christmas presents.
I've got presents.
And seeing how the Dursleys treated these two kids different when it came to birthdays, you can only imagine how bad Christmases were.
36, but last year I had 37! Christmas just doesn't work out for me.
Luckily, Harry gets an invisibility cloak for Christmas to make his break-in easier, but doesn't use the only instruction given.
Use it well.
Which I'm sure didn't mean, hide yourself, but hold a lantern in front of you.
What an idiot.
When he gets to the books, the first one yells at him, which causes Filch to investigate. Then he breaks the lantern, which makes him know a student was out of bed. Harry tries to get back to the dorms, but runs into Snape, harassing that twitchy Quirrell dude. Snape suspects that they're not alone, but Filch comes in and basically confirms that they aren't, and they run the opposite way.
Got to have your wits about you.
Harry hid in a storage room where they're holding a mirror that shows him his dead parents. So he runs back to the dorm, where he tells Ron to go with him to have him verify that he's not crazy. But Ron sees himself being super popular because he's good at Quidditch.
Wicked.
So Harry spends all night looking at his parents in the mirror until Dumbledore comes in, and he says that the mirror shows people what they want most.
The unfortunate side effect is that one tends to lose one's mind.
Oh, so Ron's on the team too.
No, he didn't even try out.
Well, I guess he didn't want it that bad.
Apparently not.
But because Harry wanted to spend Christmas with his dead parents, Dumbledore's going to give him the day before he moves the mirror to someplace he can't find it, before he goes insane.
Give it back, it's mine!
Too late.
In the library, Hermione discovers that Nicholas Flamel is known to have the Sorcerer's Stone, which can be used to make someone live forever.
Mr. Never Die.
But I go by Mr. Immortal. It's pithier.
She thinks that that's what Fluffy's guarding, so they go tell Hagrid that that's what Snape's after. But he says that Snape was one of the professors that casted one of the spells guarding the stone. They then see that he has a dragon egg, and it just happens to hatch right in front of him, and sets Hagrid on fire. And when asked where he got it, Hagrid says some dude at the bar gave it to him. But then they see Malfoy in the window, and he goes to tell McGonagall that they were out after hours. So the three of them get detention, and Malfoy has to join him for being a little snitch.
Snitches get stitches.
Well, he might, when they have to go into the Dark Forest.
But Dumbledore said that wasn't allowed.
Shut up. Nobody cares if bad kids get eaten by werewolves.
But no one's died in years.
Apparently something's killing unicorns, so naturally they want children to go look for it.
Obviously.
Harry and Draco go off and almost immediately find some dude in a cloak drinking unicorn blood straight from the tap.
Thinks he's a vampire?
Draco fucks off, but Harry's scar hurts, so he just slowly backs up. But then, a centaur shows up and shows the cloak dude its penis, which causes him to run away. Then the centaur tells him the cloak dude was Voldemort.
Shh, we do not speak his name.
Alright, sorry. But he thinks that one dude is trying to get stronger to break into Hogwarts and steal the Sorcerer's Stone that no one is supposed to know about.
That's top secret, that is.
So, naturally, the whole school knows.
The next day, Harry thinks it's a little funny that Hagrid just happened to want a dragon and ran into the one dude who went for a beer with a dragon egg in his pocket.
Who doesn't?
And if a sober Hagrid keeps slipping up and telling first-year students things, they come to the conclusion that a drunk Hagrid slipped some info on Fluffy to a complete stranger whose name he never caught and face he never saw.
Just play him a bit of music and he falls straight to sleep.
I would trust Hagrid with my life.
Hermione says that one guy that we can't talk about always feared Dumbledore, so as long as he's around, Harry will be safe. So they go to let him know that the stone might get stolen, but he got called away.
Can't expect him to run around all day.
They tell McGonagall, and she's like, nah, it's fine. So after this, and Hagrid's reaction to the threat of somebody getting the stone, anyone with half a brain would think these top-notch wizards would have it under control.
Of course, there are other things defending the stone.
But these preteens decide that they know better and decide to get it themselves.
The only way to protect the Declaration is to steal it.
So they're going to do it later tonight after everybody's asleep.
Why don't they do it right now?
Because they have classes and shit.
Don't you think that making sure the world's evilest wizard doesn't become immortal is a little more important?
Well, I do, but they don't.
Another clever idea to get us killed, or worse, expelled.
And when they're leaving, Neville tries to stop him from sneaking out, but Hermione paralyzes him.
No, don't move!
When they get to Fluffy's room, he's already asleep because someone's already played him music, which is lucky for them because they didn't bring anything to play music on.
Is that important?
Yeah, a little bit.
But then the harp stops playing, and they have to jump in the trapdoor before Fluffy can eat them. And they land on a plant that wants to kill them.
Lucky Hermione pays attention in herbology.
In the next room, Harry has to use his seeker skills to catch the right key to open the door.
But it should be unlocked if somebody's already been there.
Yeah, you'd think so. And the next room's the same way. They have to play Wizard's Chess to get a door to open, so they might actually die if they suck. And Snape must have won in like just a few moves because there are only 2 spots open. So Harry and Hermione take those open spots. Ron, on the other hand, just gets on a knight and calls the moves from there. At the end, Ron has to sacrifice himself so Harry can take the king. So he makes the call, and Hermione almost fucks everything up by going to check on it.
How could I be so stupid?
So Ron's dead?
No, because he was on the horse, the queen stabbed that, and he fell off and got knocked the fuck out.
That's totally barbaric. That's wizard's chess.
So Harry wins the match, and she stays to take care of Ron while Harry goes to stop Snape. But it's not Snape. It's that weird Quirrell dude who's looking in that one mirror. See, Snape wasn't controlling his broom, he was trying to stabilize it, and Quirrell was trying to kill him. Hermione just made him lose eye contact with him when she set Snape on fire.
You're a little scary sometimes.
He tells Harry that he can see himself holding the stone in the mirror, but can't figure out how to get it. So Harry goes over and says that he just sees himself winning a Quidditch match. But really, he sees himself putting the stone in his pocket, and then it turns up in his real pocket on this side. But his turban isn't buying this bullshit for a second. So Quirrell takes it off, and we see that one guy is actually a gross tumor on the back of his head. Like a conjoined twin. He's like, give me the stone and I'll bring your parents back from the dead. But Harry calls bullshit, so Quirrell attacks him.
How is Harry gonna fight a fully trained wizard?
Oh, he just touches him and he disintegrates.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
Now for some reason, Quirrell can touch Harry, but when Harry touches Quirrell, it burns. So when he loses his hand, Harry says fuck it, and touches his face, and he dies.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Then the ghost of the guy we can't talk about attacks Harry, and fucks off.
He's a bloody coward.
He wakes up in the hospital a few days later, where Dumbledore tells him that his friends are fine, and he destroyed the stone, and also, he convinced that Flamel dude that the stone needed to be destroyed so they don't have to worry about the evil dude using it to resurrect himself.
Then why didn't they just do that as soon as they knew he was after it?
Well, without it, he's gonna die, so I can kinda get the hesitation. But what I can't get is why Dumbledore thought it was a good idea to put it behind a bunch of booby traps in a place where children are running around and moving staircases can just take them to the booby traps.
So those traps were supposed to keep out evil wizards, but a few kids could get through them? One of which didn't even know magic existed a year ago.
Yep. Well, except for the mirror. The spell on it would have kept anybody who was trying to help what's-his-name from getting it.
Wait, so Harry being there made it more likely for them to get the stone?
Yeah, he pretty much would have been better off just staying in bed. Any other student had been down there, they would have died. Because the reason Harry was able to murder Quirrell just by touching him is because that one guy was a part of him, and Harry's protected from him by some magical bullshit about his mother's love since she died protecting him.
Didn't think your mom and dad would leave you with nothing though, did you?
But it's protection. Why did it work when Harry attacked Quirrell instead of when Quirrell attacked Harry?
It's upside down.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. But neither does Dumbledore convincing his friend to die for nothing, because he tells Harry that there are other ways for that dude to come back.
The dark side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
So they have a dinner at the end of the school year where they announce the house that has the most points. Slytherin is clearly won, with Gryffindor in last place. But Dumbledore bullshits his way through some last minute points. Like Hermione gets points for actually paying attention in class.
Nerds.
And Neville gets points for trying to stop them from breaking the rules, which they did and don't get penalized for. So they win instead because the running theme in this story has been fuck Slytherin.
It's not a witch or wizard who went bad who wasn't in Slytherin.
Now that school's over, Harry has to go back to his aunt and uncle that abuse him.
Isn't it wonderful?
So you're telling me that when Dumbledore found out an evil wizard was going to try and steal a magical immortality stone to come back to life from a wizard who's had hundreds of years to practice magic and should be pretty freaking good, instead of just magically protecting it somewhere where he wouldn't know about, he took it to his school to endanger hundreds of children's lives. Then he and his best teachers created booby traps and tests to keep anyone from getting it, but made them simple enough that 3 first-year students, one of who didn't know magic was real a year ago, could get through. Hagrid just blurts out one answer. Another one was taught in a first-year class. And I don't know much about chess, but if Ron only survived because he was on the horsey, then wouldn't he have had a harder time playing it if Harry and Hermione were pieces? It's not like he could sacrifice them, so they made the chess game easy enough that a child could win even though he'd been cheated out of 2 pieces. Then there's that stupid mirror charm. If Quirrell just went down there and said, I'm just going to give this stone to my friend, then he should have been able to get it. As it is, Harry barging down there is why they almost won in the first place. And if it had been anybody other than Harry, they would have gotten it. It sounds like Dumbledore's an idiot.
Where you going?
I'm going to bed.
Nighty night.